What is going on, YouTube? Lamont at large. Today we are in Cypress, California. We're right across the street from Forest Lawn Cemetery. Many people that have passed had hopes, wishes, and dreams just like you and me. Behind me used to be a bar called the Fifth Wave. One dream, one hope, one wish, one life. A young lady, 21 years of age. Her life ended tragically from senseless gang violence. We're gonna visit the location, talk briefly about the story and what took place behind me 20 years ago. If you are from Southern California and you're about my age, 45 years old, then you grew up around an area where there was gangs either where you lived or they were around you. And in the 90s, me growing up as a teenager, you simply could not avoid them. And a lot of you out there would probably think that gangs are predominantly just Latinos and blacks, and that's it. Whites as well. Little do you guys know that back in the 90s, there were plenty of Asian gang members, gangsters, just as hard as the next person, sometimes having to prove themselves and be even more hard than the next person. So in Southern California, you have a gang called STS or Santanas. It is primarily a Filipino gang. Now, like a lot of Asian gangs, there'll be different kinds of races of Asians within that organization. And let's not get it twisted, they don't have a color code. If you are in a Korean gang, you could be white, hell, you could even be black. They don't care. If you're down with them, they're down with you, and you're more welcome to join the party and shoot up the streets of sunny Southern California. STS, a brief history, they are considered the oldest Filipino gang in Southern California, or at least California altogether. And in their heyday in the 90s, I mean, they had quite a number of members, primarily here in the Orange County area, but they also had chapters in Los Angeles. And we're gonna talk about one of the members of STS who wanted to be above the others. Take a trip with me to March 13, 2004, okay? We're in Orange County and the STSs, they're kicking it, big kicking it. Okay, you had Wilson Sun, Ashil Nair, Glenn Watkins, remember what I said, you can join the Asian gangs, you don't gotta be Asian, Christopher Ung, Robin Kim, and Chakras Kanchanapumi. So they all go to a man by the name of Johnny Tran's house. And one of the guys that's a part of the STS, I guess you can call him one of the loudest members of the STS organization. That man's name is Stephenson Choi Kim, a very unassuming looking person, and that unassuming can get you killed. So it's about 8 or 9 guys, and Kim is with his girlfriend, Jessica Kwan. They're sitting around and they're talking. So what would you think that these guys would be talking about on a lazy, sunny evening / afternoon here in Cypress? The latest sports events, what their stocks are doing in the markets? No, they're talking about, let's go look for some enemies. Let's go gang banging. Let's go seek and destroy, whatever terminology you want to use. They want to do that. They want to go start some stuff, some problems with people. That's what gangsters, that's kind of part of your job. So they said, hey, let's go to the Fifth Wave cafe / bar, which is right over there. We're going to be walking up to it right now, because that's a known hangout for one of their rivals. As far as I know, Asian gangs that I've ever known, they don't really have neighborhoods like how traditional black and Latino street gangs do. They have more of a place that they hang out. So in Asian gang world, Happy Family Dentistry, if that were a bar, then a certain person from a certain gang, they would hang out over there. And then Asian Gang Y would hang out over there. They, hang out in bars, cafes, pool halls, so forth and so on. So March 13th, 2004, the STS members, they go to the Fifth Way Cafe because they're looking for problems, they're looking for trouble, and they would find it. So two of the members of STS, one Christopher Watkins and Ashiel Nair, they go into the bar. And as soon as they come in, they see some people in the back in the table. To them, they look like they're gang members. They kind of have a look, a style, if you will, in particular at that time. So Nair, he goes up to the table and he says, "Where are you from?" That means, what gang neighborhood are you from? And they all kind of just say nowhere. And you know, they're like, "Hey, listen, man, we're not gang members. We don't want any problems, you know." And then Nair says, "Okay, that's fine." He says, "F Sarzana," which Sarzana would be a rival gang that possibly these guys were looking for when they came into this place. Now, I wouldn't be doing this story if everybody at that table had not said a word and let Nair and Watkins walk out and not have said anything. But somebody at the table, they felt a certain way. Like maybe they had to say something. Maybe they didn't want to get punked. So sitting at the table is Michael Paik, Venus Hyun, Jean Lee, John Chung, Kung John Yo, and brothers Ronald and Richard Woodhead. They look like sort of gang members, but maybe not. Now, again, if everybody would have just stayed quiet, again, I wouldn't be doing this video. But somebody couldn't keep quiet. So Richard Woodhead stands up and says, "Well, listen, I'm not in a gang anymore, but I used to be from a gang called FMS, which is a predominantly Korean gang. But like I said, they got other races in there, but they're predominantly Korean. So FMS would stand for either Family Mob Gang or Family Mobsters." So he says, "Yeah, I used to be from this gang, but I'm not a part of that life anymore. I've grown up, I've got a job, I'm in school," whatever he said. He's not a part of that gang, but he used to be. Now, STS, Satanas, and FMS, Family Mobsters, they have beef. These are two gangs that if they see each other, probably till this day, they would probably at least bare minimum fight. So then Watkins and Nair, they walk out of this door right here. This used to be that cafe, which it was a cafe slash bar, right? They served alcohol, but it was also just kind of a lounge place. So they walk out and they go up to Stephenson Choi Kim, and he's riding with another guy named Robin Kim. I don't believe they're related. And Robin Kim is not affiliated with STS. He's a hang-arounder. Maybe he's a prospect. So they're like, "Hey, there's some guys from FMS inside of the cafe." So immediately, Stephenson Choi Kim, he tells Robin, "Give me your gun." So Robin has an unnamed semi-automatic submachine pistol and a .45 caliber gun. He gives him the .45 cal. He takes the hat from Wilson's son, puts it on over his face to disguise himself, and Stephenson Choi Kim walks into this door, walks right up to the table with all those people, and just starts firing. Boom, 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 blap, 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 blap. And chaos everywhere. Everyone's like ducking and running and jumping and whatever. So he would end up shooting 5 people, killing Venus Hyun, 21 years of age. And after he shoots and kills everybody, he pretty calmly walks right out of the back door right here into this alley, and Robin, driving some kind of a black pickup truck, I believe a Toyota Tacoma, he's waiting right in this alley, and they just turn around here and skirt off into the streets. So after the shooting, all the members of STS, there's like 8 or 9 of them, and they're in like 3 or 4 different cars. They all just peel out of here, just go down the street. They all run to trance house. And I'm sure they're high-fiving each other like, yeah, woohoo, exciting. Yeah, we did really, really good. We did great. Except, well, Choi Kim, he dropped his hat. It wasn't his hat, it was Wilson Sun's hat. All right, well, that sucks. You don't want to drop your hat when you're committing a crime. The next day in the newspaper, well, they go and look to see what their dirty work entailed, and in the newspaper was a picture of 21-year-old Venus Hyun. The bullet from the .45 caliber handgun hit her in the torso, struck a rib, ricocheted off of that rib, and entered her cranial cavity, ultimately, killing her almost instantly. Now, when Choi Kim, when he sees that, he's actually remorseful because she wasn't in a gang. She was hanging out with some guys that used to be in FMS, or maybe they were. They didn't claim it. So you basically got STS who killed an innocent bystander. So basically now Choi Kim tells Wilson Sun and Ashiel Nair and Glenn Watkins, he says, listen, don't say anything. Keep quiet. If you don't keep quiet, and he decides to keep Robin Kim's gun, he's not going to give it back to him. He tells Robin, I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. Everybody just shut up. Well, so the detectives, now they're here, they arrive, and now they're investigating a murder. And they get whatever footage they can from the video, which doesn't really help because the video quality was not really good, even if they even had a video, which I did not see in any court articles online. But they do have the eyewitness of the people that worked at the cafe. One of them did testify in court as to who he seen entering the establishment, which was Ashiel Nair. Now, eventually, you fast forward a couple months later, and all 6 guys that were responsible for this crime, including the shooter, Stephenson Choi Kim, they were all arrested and charged with 6 counts of attempted murder and 1 count of murder. Now, when you're a gangster, there's a code about not snitching. You're not supposed to snitch. If all of these guys would have not snitched and just kept their mouth shut, there's a decent probability that they would have beat this case. Because like I said, I didn't hear about them having any kind of video of the crime. I'm sure there was, but back in those days, how good could video be from 2004? And plus this guy's wearing a black hat over his face and what have you. But everybody from STS, everybody snitched on Choi Kim, as they should have. So they all, they're getting threatened. They all get sit down in the interrogation room. And listen, if you don't point the finger at this guy, you're all going to jail for life. You're going to get the death penalty. You're going to have a boyfriend named Bunny. And it's going to be really, really rough and really, really bad. So they probably just scare the living crap out of them. So they all take deals. They all testify against Stephenson Choi Kim. And yeah, Kim, it's not looking good for him going to trial. Oh, by the way, when Robin Kim was arrested and got thrown in jail, remember how I told you he wasn't in STS, he was just a prospect? Well, the members quickly jumped him into STS. So now he's officially a full-fledged member of Santanas. So during Choi Kim's trial, the evidence that the prosecutors have is, well, they have that hat that they dropped, which the DNA from Wilson's son was linked to the hat. So I don't think they had DNA from Choi Kim. But they have all the testimony of all members of STS pointing at him, saying that he's the one that committed the murder. On top of that, when they raided his house, they found his computer, and on his computer, on the internet searches, it was searching for Venus Hyun, Cypress shooting, STS gang shooting, FMS shooting. And they also had a note where Choi Kim was saying that he was going to take his own life and basically saying, if you're reading this note or this message, I'm already dead, blah, blah, blah. And basically it was a confession letter on his computer. So they got all the gang members' testimony saying, you know, he's the killer. Him basically saying himself that he did it, and his final note to the world, excuse me. And also they have a note that he tries to send Robin Kim about keeping his mouth shut. I want to read the note really quickly. It's kind of funny. What's up, little homie? What's up, dog? I know you talked to the cops and told them everything. I already know, homie. I'm telling you, we have a good chance of fighting this case. They can't use your confession in trial. They can only use it in the preliminary hearing. At trial, you'll have to testify, but you don't want to do that. You don't want to testify. You know what's up, homie. We have to stick together on this. Don't let the DA scare you. If you take a deal, you'll do the time for sure. Plus, they'll stick you with more cases and you'll become a snitch. And that's not the way to do bleep, expletive. If we fight the case, we could beat it. All the evidence they have is the homies pointing fingers. But if we stop pointing fingers at each other, then they won't have any evidence. I'm making sure the victims don't testify. Don't worry, just listen to me. I know what's up. If I go down, all of you go down. Just don't get weak. I know it's scary, but don't make this case harder than what it needs to be. If we lose, we can appeal. If you plea bargain, you can never appeal. Just listen to me. Wow, the ramblings of a desperate man. So you mean to tell me that you're the one that committed the murder? You're the one that committed the crime. And you're telling the other guys to not snitch and gamble with their lives getting a life sentence. Yeah, that doesn't seem like a good trade-off. I would snitch too, and I proudly admit it. So eventually, all the other guys, they get their pleas, they get their time. They're basically sentenced anywhere from time served up till, I think I seen 11 years in prison. But basically all those guys should be out by now unless they caught new charges while they were incarcerated. And as for Stephenson Choi Kim, the loudest one of the group of the STS members, he ended up being found guilty of first-degree murder, 6 counts of attempted murder, 1 count of street terrorism, and he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, and 215 years on top of that. So unless this guy somehow or another gets an appeal, he's never, ever, 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 ever getting out. And I would throw in 10 more evers. Definitely never, ever getting out. Beloved daughter, sister, cousin, friend, and granddaughter, Venus Hyun. Her murder only proves to show that no matter where you're at, just minding your own business, having fun with friends. Evil lurks around every corner, through every door frame. Rest in peace to this poor girl. Very, very young to have been taken out like that in such a brutal fashion. Some people just don't want to square up anymore. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.